Hey everybody, thanks for joining. This is Mike Jones. This is Ellis County TV, and today we got a special guest. He's near and dear to my heart. It's Sam TRIPP Bryant. Sam, thanks brother for showing up, man.
You bet.
So Sam, you're pretty well ingrained with the political things going on between Hood County and Navarro County, yes, and Ellis County. So tell these people who don't know you exactly what it is. Is it SREC?
Yes, the State Republican Executive Committee.
Okay. Yeah.
Much like the county executive committee for that, you have all the precinct chairs manage the flow of information to each of their precincts to keep their precincts involved, engaged politically. We do that at the state level.
Comes through the microphone.
Yeah, so we manage it at the state level.
And were you elected to this position?
Yes, we get elected at every biennium at the state convention.
The Republican state convention?
Yes.
Okay, because you're a Republican.
Yes.
Aren't you?
All the way.
Okay. Hey, so let me ask you this, Sam. Yeah. And for the people out there who don't know, I know Sam. Again, he's it's just like the other guys that have been in here. I personally know him, but I know y'all don't. So I'm going to ask him some questions. He might look at me like, look, you already know that answer. So bear with us here. Sam is not used to and I'm not used to this. So first of all, Sam, you are the nephew to my wife.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so we've known each other for, I don't know.
Many years.
Many moons, huh?
Many years.
I can't say I changed your diaper.
No.
Doesn't go back that far.
You were, the first time I met you, you were in your patrol car. You just started working.
Did you know I was related or was I related?
No, this is when you were first started dating Melva. You were in your patrol vehicle, and you were you just started on with Midlothian PD. You'd been working for Midlothian PD for a little while, I think.
Yeah, I started probably 97 as a reserve and part-time. And
you went full-time, I think,
99, yeah.
And I had enlisted in March of 99.
Enlisted into what? Marine Corps?
Army.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you guys, not everybody can be a Marine.
But not everybody can be a paratrooper either.
Hey, I tried to join the Army. They told me I couldn't think that slow, so I had to go to the Marine Corps.
I'm sure of it. So they issued you a pack of crayons.
You know, when Chris Kyle came back, I met him for the first time over at Johnny Brown. When he was a sheriff, he would have these parties on the first of the year, New Year's Eve party. And Chris Kyle was, came to one of them. And he knew Johnny was the sheriff, and so that was kind of who he was talking about, who's Mike Jones, Well, Johnny up and says, "Hey, this is my friend, retired Marine Mike Jones." And I said, "How you doing?" He goes, "Oh yeah, you're part of the Department of the Navy, the women's department." I'm like, "Bitch, it's on, man." So we're going back and forth, and it was a great time. God rest his soul. But so it's different services have these rivalries, but it's all in good fun. So and especially fun. So tell us a little bit about your deployments. So what were you in the Army, first of all? What was your occupation?
I had two MOSs. I had my secondary MOS was a Cavalry Scout 19 Delta. My primary was 11 Bravo. I was an airborne infantryman.
So that's kind of like if everybody's airborne, and doesn't everybody in the Army go through airborne school?
No, absolutely not.
No, they don't. Really, people, even me, I'm a retired Marine. It seems like everybody I talk to, I went to airborne school. I'm a Ranger. Like.
Well, you get a lot more of that because you look at the training budget.
Let me butt in there. Let me just tell you that I meet up with older Marines too, and man, just about every one of them was a Marine sniper. So.
Yeah, and no, everybody is Special Forces sniper. It's like, okay, so were you a Bravo 4 or a Whiskey 2? Like, which one? Did you go to SODIC?
I can't tell you. It's classified.
Like, yeah, it's classified.
The CIA sold my records.
Yeah, I read, yeah.
And, there's a guy on the internet right now, Don Shipley, and he's a retired Navy SEAL. and he hunts down these people who,
Yes.
and so,
Stolen Valor guy.
yeah. And who are saying that they're Navy SEALs, or I'm former Navy SEAL, and he's got the database of every person since World War II that started at UDT, and then I think the SEALs were started by John F. Kennedy. I think's what he said.
Yeah.
But anyway, the long story short, he's got the database of everyone that's ever went to the class and passed it. So what he does is he calls these guys and say, hey, and that's not classified.
No, so like
going to school is not classified.
We've had to check on some guys. Like when I got back from Afghanistan, and they were working on my medical retirement process after my surgery. They were obviously not going to let me go back to jump status, but there was a guy that came through the LURS unit, and he was claiming that he was a airborne ranger, claimed all this stuff, and I ended up at that time it was Command Sergeant Purdue that had went through Ranger School like in the late 70s, early 80s, and he was the Command Sergeant Major over Ranger Training Brigade. So I called him up and said, "Hey."
So he's got the rosters,
the archive.
Yeah.
So there's two databases, at least at Ranger School at Fort Benning, at the Ranger Training Brigade. They have a database system in their computers, and then they have the archives, and every Ranger gets issued what they call a green card. Mm-hmm. And there's a physical green card that gets filed away in the archives.
Okay.
Okay. And so if he can't find them in the electronic database, he will go pull the archive record on the physical books.
The microfiche and all that. Yeah.
And so they can confirm it right then and there. And he said even to that point, if the guy had been in Ranger School, his name, Command Sergeant Major Purdue's, his green card was still active in the electronic system.
Okay.
So anybody from beyond the 80s was still in that electronic system. So it's like, no, the guy's faking the funk. Like
I mean, a lot of times these guys never even served at all. I went, of all things, I went to a car wash up here in town, and I took my patrol car up through there. But in my patrol car, I have my foot mats, whatever the hell they call floor mats. Yeah, my floor mats are custom, and it has the Marine Corps emblem on it. It says Mike Jones on it that my parents had bought me for Christmas. But so I just use them. They're those rubber deals. Anyway, he's working at this car wash, and my car goes through the line, and then he pulls it up, so they could dry it. And he comes over to me. He goes, "Yeah, I was a Marine." And I'm looking at him. And I've told this story before. If you were a Marine, would there be enough evidence to convict you? Now, just like the Army, you guys know certain things that you will go to your grave knowing. You know what I'm saying? And everybody that's been associated with that same program will go to the grave knowing that same thing. It's not like they're going to forget, Joe Smuckatelli kicking their ass while they were out on the PT. They're not going to forget that,
You kill me with the Joe Smuckatelli.
So, yeah. So this guy comes over and he says, "Yeah, I was in the Marines." I'm like, "Oh, you were?" So I just took him at face value initially,
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, if we're in the Marines, why are you drying cars? Because you've got some kind of talent, some kind of leadership value. I'm thinking all this in my head. I said, "Where'd you go to boot camp?" That's the first thing a Marine will ask another Marine, because we only have two.
Yep, Parris Island
or San Diego.
San Diego.
And normally if you're in Texas, you'll go to San Diego. If you're on the other side of Mississippi, they'll send you to Parris Island. That's just how that works out. So I asked him, I said, "Where did you go for boot camp?" "Florida." And it was this, and I'm instantly pissed now. Dude sought me out to tell me that he was a Marine. Now, I bust my ass to be a Marine. You know how it is. It pisses you off on a freaking whole different level. If the guy would have just been a car dryer, I'd been fine with him, But no, he's an imposter now. And he thinks we got something in common.
Well,
we were Marines. And so I said, "Well, we don't have a boot camp in Parris Island." "Yeah, they sent me somewhere in Florida." He goes, "Yeah, they sent me somewhere down in Florida." I said, "Well, when's the Marine Corps birthday?" That's another thing a Marine will never forget. It's pounded in his boot camp.
Yeah.
It's November 10th. I'm giving it away, 1775. He had no clue. right there, you know he's an imposter. If a Marine says if a guy says he was a Marine and he doesn't know the Marine Corps birthday, he's an imposter. You might as well just go to looking at your phone, you know, because it's only going to escalate from there, you know. Yeah. So, and I've even seen guys with Marine Corps T-shirts on in the gym. I'm like, oh, were you in the Marines, or did you just find that shirt? And 9 times out of 10, they just found the shirt, or somebody gave them the shirt. And it's kind of like this Don Shipley guy I was talking about. There's guys that busted their ass for that title.
Yeah.
And people who don't know recognize that shirt as saying Marines, and then you do something stupid out here in public, it reflects on us who have the title.
Yeah.
And they don't get that. So,
and again, like every branch has their dirt bags, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And so even when it's like somebody just posing, it's like, you know, it's almost as though that guy was doing it just to get an emotional charge.
Sure.
For you to be compelled to give him a tip. You know what I mean? Like,
you mean searching for, what can I use next time I try to pull off that?
Well, I mean, let's say this:
I wouldn't.
He finds something to emotionally connect you by, and it's kind of funny because.
But see, the thing is I would have treated him just the same if he told me that he used to work at Subway. I would have treated him like a person.
Well, no, and the thing is, like we have people that will lie about their service. It's like,
that's right.
Here's the thing, you know what? Why don't you just be proud of what you did?
You served your country.
There was a female that was discussing it in our group how she said that she had, it went black on her M4 rifle from the gunner's hatch, and it's like. Okay, well, I can tell you right now, the area that you were in, nothing ever happened. And she went black on ammo. How did you burn through 210 rounds of ammunition if you were in the gunner's hatch when you had a primary crew serve weapon and a secondary crew serve weapon? Like, how did you? Was that like a 100-mile?
But she couldn't put those together because she's never had that experience.
Well, she never had the experience,
right?
But, it's
and that irritates you. It pisses you off because there are people that have gone black on the ammo.
Yeah.
And scared the shit out of them. Pardon my language. Scared the hell out of them.
Yeah.
That might be just
well, and then when you look at these, these emotionally charged motives, where they're trying to seek benefits for it.
Yeah.
So you're tying up benefits, so guys like my buddy Colt can't get the help that he needs because the VA has already heard all the lies under the sun, and he's really jacked up. He can't even speak without stuttering in some cases because he went under.
He's got PTSD or
he had a
traumatic brain injury.
He had a brain injury because of an IED blast, and there's times where he doesn't tick right, and and you see the behavioral patterns. You see issues with him. Having struggles with being able to sustain or hold down sustainable. Sustaining employment, and it just
it's terrible, man. Yeah. And he's the kind of guy that needs our help. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And for somebody like you said, and again, if they were a cook, they served to me. If they were a cook in the Navy or the Army,
we had guys that were cooks. We had guys that were thrown in with us. There was a guy that was an admin.
Yeah.
It's like, man.
Here's a rifle.
I mean, it's pretty much. Look, we have so many slots available on a deployment. Guess what?
Yeah.
If you can shoot a gun, you can man a gunner's hatch. Well,
we used to call that our TO, table of organization. Mm-hmm. And so we had line numbers. You could have 5 of these MOSs, and you rated 8 of these MOSs, and you never had all those filled until it was time to deploy. And then you'd be pulling them. Usually for us, because it was aviation, we had to pull people that, knew what an aviation or how to spell aviation.
Yeah.
But even when those guys went, in country, the admin guys were standing in the wire just like the grunts were. It was on a rotation deal.
Yeah.
And they would be TAD, what we call deploy or attached to another unit to do the wire, or maybe they were the base patrol or whatever, and that's what they would do the whole time they were in country. So So the bottom line there is don't screw up, or they'll put your butt on a detail, and you're going to be a little closer to the enemy.
But you know what? How many times have you seen you screw up, you move up?
or they screw up and they move up with you. You're like, man, I could have got away with what you got away with. Now I feel cheated. Right? All right, Sam. Well, I wanted the people to know that you're a veteran. And how many times were you in Afghanistan?
Yes, I did two deployments in Iraq and one in Afghanistan.
So that's 3 deployments altogether.
Yeah.
Well, and you are married and got a little chickpea, what you call her, huh?
That's my little chickpea.
How old is she?
She's 2 years old.
And how old are you?
38. That's pretty bad.
When I retired, I was 39. When I retired, my daughter was graduating high school at the same time, and I had a friend. He's Joe Battle over here, and he was a warrant officer that retired, and I think he had twins, and I'm like, bro,
yeah,
because in the military at 38, you're an old man. You know what I'm saying?
Well, most people they go in at 18 years old.
I did.
18, 19 years old. And occasionally you get the old guy in his 30s, and you're like, not
smoking 15 cigarettes an hour.
Every basic training has got like the one old guy that decided, what, I'm going to go in the military, and he ends up being like the platoon guy to the platoon leader at that time.
Oh yeah,
and he regrets every bit of it. It's like now I'm getting
He's like, man, how did I get out of this?
Yeah, how they stick me with this job, and he's basically like the glorified cat herder.
Yeah, pretty much. Everybody's jacking around. He's got all the maturity.
Yeah,
we had one of those guys too. We're gonna take a fast break, y'all. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be right back.
Jarvis Signs is your best source for wide format printing, industrial signage, and safety sign needs. Jarvis Signs has been in business for over 16 years. Before your order is placed, we will send over digital artwork that you can view before approving your order. We have what's called a no surprise clause. This means you'll know exactly what your bill will be before we print anything, so there are no surprises. Check out our website and email us for further action, gyrosigns.com.
All right, Sam, we're back. Thanks everybody for coming back. That camera's a little high still, but whatever. I'm a cop, not a camera guy. So, and you're doing okay. All right, Sam. Let's get back. We got off on a tangent. It's always fun talking. Are you warming up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome studio. I dig it.
Yeah. Y'all, for y'all to know where this is, you got to be on the show. So.
Got to be on the show.
Got to be on the show. Hey. It's top secret. It's classified.
Classified.
If we tell you, got to kill you.
Like the snipers.
Yeah. Okay, Sam. Let's get back on the politics, and we're not going to beat politics to death.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk trash about people. We're just going to talk about what the Republican Party needs in Ellis County. So you want to brush on that a little bit?
You know what? Here's the thing. The Republican Party at the local level has literally, I think, has gained back the trust, I think. It's hard not to be complacent when you're doing well.
Right.
But I think at the local level, we've seen such a positive trend. I mean, we're not going to get too deep in the weeds with what happened with Carol Bush, but we obviously saw a big level of corruption that had surfaced, and
that
voters
took care of itself.
The voters took care of it.
Once they learned of it, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely. And so this is literally, I believe, that's going to be the last election of cleaning the house.
This one coming up.
Yes, absolutely.
So. And I know a little bit about it. So what you're saying is that we have the opportunity to make Ellis County great again. I think I stole that from Trump. But
beyond great. Beyond great.
Our candidates that are not the incumbents. Let me take that back. Okay. The candidates that we have and that I've also recommended on one of my shows of endorsements. those candidates can make Ellis County awesome.
Yes.
If I didn't mention their name, it's on you guys. And I know I don't want to alienate anybody, you know, so not on this show. Maybe I'll have another show one day where it'll be like Mike rants on everybody. Okay, but that's what you're getting at, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I would like to say, you know, so from the top down, obviously Trump, but one of the least talked about candidates for the U.S. Senate running up against John Cornyn.
And who is that, Stovall?
Dwayne Stovall. If you want a solid conservative who's going to vote for you, represent you well, it's going to be Stovall. Stovall's not bought and paid off by anybody. Stovall doesn't own. He's not owned.
He's got a catchy little slogan too.
Less DC, more TX.
No,
That's one of them.
that's one of them.
Yeah.
The one I like is Dwayne the Swamp.
Yeah, Dwayne the Swamp. Yeah. Yes.
His name's Dwayne, isn't
Yes.
it? Yeah. When I saw that, I thought,
Dwayne
man,
Stovall.
that's awesome. That's a great catchphrase. You know.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
where's he live at? I mean, what is he down in Navarro County or what?
No, he's down there in Walter West's district. Down there. Where did he say he was from?
Do you know who he's running against?
He's running against John Cornyn.
Okay. Is there anybody else running against John Cornyn?
No, not that I know of.
Democratic side or anything?
Even if I go with my candidates. I don't
Sure.
pay attention to anybody else, any other race other than
Yeah,
that.
I mean, and that's pretty much how I roll too. You know,
I figured,
I only got a little bit of brain, so I don't want to get too desperate, or it might smoke up. And
that's the old third bar dim.
yeah, that's right. That's right. Smoke detector might come on if I get to thinking too hard.
CPU is going out.
Yeah, I'll be like, just control. Somebody will try to control alt delete me or something. Okay, so the Republican Party in Ellis County, and you're part of the committee for, what does SREC stand for again?
State Republican Executive Committee
Okay, and there's a number after that?
for Senate District 22.
Okay, and is that Senator Birdwell's district?
Yes, it is. Yes, it
Awesome.
is.
I like Senator Birdwell. I haven't talked to him in
He's
years.
a good man. He's a good man.
That man, oh my God! You know, I was talking to Sheriff candidate Brad Norman last night on the show, and we were talking about 9/11. You know, and that's, you know, we can talk about it, and I can say where I was and what I was doing instantly when those airplanes hit. But poor Colonel Birdwell.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he didn't. He was burnt so bad by that the crash in the Pentagon that he's got a great book. I think it's called "Coming Through the Fire," something like that. Man, what a
Phenomenal story. I mean, even more so as somebody who was in the burn unit. I mean,
oh yeah,
when we hear these stories from our guys and girls, I tell you, when you hear them deliver a description of what it was like, there's a gentleman named Dave Reaver who was a boat operator for SEAL Team 1 in Vietnam. And
allegedly, we had to ask Shipley if that's true or not.
no, he's real deal, real deal. Anyway, so he had a white phosphorus grenade. Their standard SOP or TACSOP was to put a phosphorus grenade on the bank to make an entry, you know, to do a burn clearing for the SEAL teams to make a land entry.
Mm-hmm.
And he, as he was getting ready to pop the phosphorus grenade, he dropped the spoon.
Oh.
And a sniper shot his shoulder. And what happened was it caused him to release it. It went off, and it burned. I can't remember what percentage it was, but to hear Dave Reaver's testimony is a phenomenal testimony.
And for the guys out there and ladies who haven't served in the military, phosphorus, you can't put phosphorus out.
No, you can't. It'll
can't
burn
put water.
underwater.
Yeah.
It's definitely no joke.
It's no joke, man. It'll burn right through it'll go completely through your body.
Yes.
It's so, hats off to this guy you're talking about.
Yeah.
Man, we got a lot of heroes in our country, though, that have gone above and beyond, and it's just made this country what it is today. You know, with you know, I mean, it's kind of cyclic. You know, we go through the periods of we want to be communists and we want to be socialists, and then that lasts until everybody runs out of food.
Yeah.
You know, and then you know, but for America, the most part, and I think James Mattis, you know, Mad Dog Mattis, General Mattis, he called this like an experiment in democracy. This experiment that we're having here in America. By the way, Semper Fi, James, if you see this, would that be awesome? If he's like, hey, I watch Mike's. But so yeah, man, I love veterans, and I know you do too. And I can't think of anything else I would have been more prouder to do than to serve my country, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, just on to be honest, I really didn't want to work for a living, you know. So that's why mainly I stayed in the Marine Corps, because one, it was the easiest job in the world. I mean, it really was. Yeah, we had, you know, Army's the same way.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't clock in and we didn't clock out, which sometimes hurt us because they just keep us there until they were ready for us
absolutely.
to go.
I think when we did we ran our hourly reports on, you know, because we were trying to figure out like how much we were making, right? Like, you know, even with combat pay, it was like, wait a minute, well, technically, you know, we didn't come off this mission until like 48 hours or 72 hours. It's like, so we're pretty much making like $2.23 an hour.
Yeah.
That's what it equivalates
And
to.
damn glad to have
Yes.
it.
Yes. No, it was definitely, but you know, how do you motivate a non-volunteer force? And I think it's the extraordinary people.
It is.
You know, that you work with. It's the you know
It's the best friends you'll ever make in your life.
It's a eternal brotherhood.
Yeah.
And I tell you, you know, what's that famous quote? Ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Mm-hmm. And that's a legacy.
Yeah, and it continues. You know, it long after we're gone. You know, my dad spent 20 years in the Marine Corps too, and he got out in 74 and I came in 78. He told everybody I was his replacement, you know. He really did. But I came, you know, this brotherhood is so close that 4 or 5 years, my dad passed away 2 years ago. But 4 or 5 years ago, they were having a reunion. And like I said, this is a reunion from guys that he knew in Vietnam, right?
Yeah.
And they were having a reunion down in San Antonio. And he begged me and my wife, your aunt, to go down there. So we finally gave in. You know, it's just going to be a lot of geriatric people down here, you know, with war stories. And, you know, I'm going to be the youngest person in the room, you know. And anyway, so we went down there and they were having dinner, and so we went over, and that's where we met them, was in the restaurant, you know. And there was probably 7 or 8 guys there with their wives, and then my dad with his wife, and they were waiting. My dad's best friend, who's from Ohio, was his master sergeant when he retired, and when my dad retired, they were, you know, it was my dad's right hand man. Was this guy Harold was his name? Well, Harold had a friend that he knew, and so that guy was supposed to, you know, like me, I went down there to be my dad's guest, I guess, so to speak. And so he was waiting for his friend, which was going to be his guest, and these are all Marines, by the way. And so when the guy shows up, I look at him and he looks at me, and I'm like, you got to be shitting me. We know each other. So that guy worked for my dad, and then I worked for that guy 15 years later.
Wow.
15 years, yeah. I mean, and had no clue. Yeah, small community, and my dad's looking at me like, "Are you kidding?" I said, "No." That guy was infantry with my dad, and then he
311.
He retreaded. He was a lance corporal or some crap like that. He retreaded, went to school at Texas A&M, and got a officer slot and became a backseater in F4s, and that's how I met him.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a small world, and he's been out 20 years. Oh well, I've been out 20 years, so he's probably been out 30 years, and I hadn't seen him since
You've
that
been
4
out
days.
20 years?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I retired in 1999. Yeah.
Wow.
I know. I just look young and pretty.
So
You could look like this if you were a Marine.
Yeah, well, sure. I think I passed.
Oh yeah, wait till you get here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't be here when you get here, but you know,
You will. You will.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, you will.
Well, Sam, we're going to keep this short and sweet.
Yeah.
This will kind of give us an idea of where we go from here, because we'll just bring you back.
Yeah. So let's talk about. I'm going to suggest that or recommend my list of candidates.
Sure.
I would
And we
say,
need to talk about Nemesis too.
So okay, beyond. So we have obviously Trump and Stovall.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm not going to write those down. You're going to give your recommendations. I gave my recommendations.
Stovall, definitely over Cornyn. I'd say call out Cornyn. You go for Stovall. Vote for Stovall. At the local race, I'm going to put my recommendation on for the state rep, Jake Elsing. For the DA seat, Julissa Martinez all the way.
Here.
Criminal court number 3 that just been established.
County court number 3.
County court.
They're going to do criminal
They're
cases.
all criminal cases.
Yeah.
Joe Gallo, 100%.
Joe Gallo, and I remember it was Gallo and Gallo was the name of this wine company.
Yeah.
I said the other day it was like Gallo Brothers. Or
Yeah,
something.
definitely Gallo. By far the most.
All day long.
The most prepared for this seat with experience, quality of integrity. That's probably the most important factor is his unwillingness
without a
to
doubt.
waver his integrity.
Yeah.
And I tell you, you're not going. His integrity is as constant as the Northern Star.
Yep.
I mean, you can't get a better guy than Joe Gallo.
Nope. And he's always thinking, how's this going to look if people were on the outside looking in? And he tries to conduct his self in that manner, you know.
Absolutely.
He's always cognizant of what he's doing, and that says a lot, you know. So we got Joe Gallo.
And as far as a precinct race, if you're in precinct 3, I would highly recommend that you go with Paul Perry. Paul Perry has been proven. He's been
I agree.
proven.
I agree. And somebody said the other day, well, what about this or what about that? These guys are one vote on a court of 4 votes.
Yes.
So sometimes, and I don't like it, but that's, you know, I mean, you can draw a line in the sand and not vote for what, you know, this guy wants to do, and he will never vote for your thing. So it's a give and take. It's just the way it is. That's the way politics is. Yeah. I don't agree with it, but no one's listening to me. So some of the things that Paul may have been involved in that didn't go with the way the people wanted it to in his precinct, 99% of the things Paul got right, you know?
Absolutely. And I get, listen, nobody's perfect by any means. But I think what's most important is that it's proven integrity.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it may not be exactly what you want every single time, but when you actually look at the major issues, which is the taxes, you know, property taxes, you know, how they vote on that proposed effective rate.
Yeah.
Paul Perry has continuously, he has a proven track record. You know, why would you risk trying to fix something that's not broken? And I've heard you say it before, but what other term would you use?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, don't try to fix what's not broken. Paul Perry has a proven track record with his voting record.
Yeah.
He's been a staunch conservative when it comes to Second Amendment rights.
Oh,
Look,
yeah.
And those will argue
the unborn.
Political, yes. You know, my hat's off to the county commissioner's court, including the judge. Ellis County, and this sets a very, very strong precedence across our entire Senate district. So when I go back to the quarterly meetings, which we have our last quarterly meeting that lead up to the convention, I'm going to be able to go down there and say, listen, that was Senate District 22. that's setting the precedence, not just on
That's
Second
it.
Amendment
Yeah.
stuff, but with the unborn. You know,
We're
right
the
to protect-
first county in
all of Texas, to pass.
sanctuary for the
Absolutely.
unborn, protect the unborn, and that really. And Paul said this the other night that was a Todd Little started that,
Yes.
and then the rest of them got together and they all hashed this out to where, you know, we can protect the unborn here, and it's not a anti. You know, they didn't do this for any kind of movement other
No.
than the protection.
This was because it was the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do.
And when you see a group of people that come together to vote on something, on a matter that's I mean, it's one of the legislative priorities.
Yeah.
On the platform, you know.
And we're the only ones that have done it.
Absolutely. And it's not just that the fact that it made it to the legislative priority as a priority. It's the fact that we need to come back to the center of the path of what's right. Morally, it's the moral right thing to do.
Paul Perry. So, what do we have left?
Let me see.
We got one more left. Sheriff.
Sheriff, definitely Brad Norman all the way. I mean,
How did you forget that one?
I mean, how do we forget that one? No, it's no.
Somebody's not watching my video.
You know, I'm telling you, this is no. I really love what you're doing. I mean, you're doing a lot of service to the public that they don't have time to keep up with.
Yeah,
politics.
exactly.
I mean, I barely have enough time to keep up with it all, and I'm trying to cover the entire Senate district.
Yeah.
You know, there's
And
another.
we're not going to get that deep into politics
Yeah,
on this
you
show.
know.
We're just listen, and it's just my recommendation. It's just it's my opinion. It's Sam's opinion.
Ultimately, it's up to the voters.
The bottom line is get out and vote. Get
Yes.
out and vote.
Absolutely.
Whoever your candidate is, get out and vote. I mean, really, Ellis County votes, but we could do better.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so-
in fact, during the last midterms, Maypearl actually had the highest voter turnout.
Wow. Was it a county race or was it a city race?
No, it was during the midterms. Crystal Valdez's, when Crystal Valdez and the last commissioners were running.
Yeah. The governor on the governor's ticket.
The midterm.
Yeah.
The midterms.
Yeah, I'm on the presidential ticket because that's just how I roll. Everybody, thank you, Sam. Thanks,
Yes,
brother.
you bet.
I'll
Thank
get
you.
you back. We'll get him back on here, and
Oh, we're gonna do a plug. We doing a plug?
yeah,
Nemesis
go ahead.
Tactical?
Yeah, sure. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
All right, Sam. Tell them, do a plug for your side business.
Okay. I own and operate Nemesis Tactical. We run a series of tactical training courses geared towards military, law enforcement, also civilians. We notice that there's a lot of bad stigma about the AR platform, and we want to train, trade off that negative imaging, and rebrand, at least at the legislative level, because you go into these committee hearings, and it's always about the semi-automatic rifles and
Yeah.
high capacity magazines.
Yeah.
Well, what we want to do is we want to rebrand it by putting the education and the training available out there at a minimum cost. And we run a basic.
Do you have a website that they could go to get more information? I mean,
Right now, it's just on Facebook. We're under construction.
what's it
website.
called on Facebook?
It's Nemesis Tactical.
Nemesis. Well, you're gonna have to spell Nemesis because people that watch me they're my sixth graders. They're on my sixth grade
Our
level.
spelling is pretty much the same.
Maybe I'm only talking about myself and trying to
No, Nemesis Tactical, Nemesis Tactical,
NEME.
ABC style, Nemesis.
SIS. You know what, guys? I'll have a link to it. Not a link to it because I really don't know how to do that, but I'll spell it out on my
Nemesis Tactical,
Nemesis Tactical.
LLC.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we run a basic course, a close quarter battle tactics course, CQB, close quarter battle. We have a intermediate level where we focus more on shot grouping and cognitive shooting. Then we also have an advanced CQB course where we do a daytime and nighttime course. And then we also run a long-range marksmanship course that gears the AR platform.
That's for all the Marine snipers that are old and
Well, we start plugging dope at 500 to 700 yards, and we reach out to 800.
With iron sights, or you? No.
Hold off,
Sam, thank you, brother.
You bet.
All right, man. Thanks, Sam.
You bet.